Hi, and welcome to Flourish and Flow. I'm your host, Amy Rohrer, yoga teacher and nurture neuroscience practitioner from the Yoga Hut in Tilsonburg, here to help you connect and integrate the dots to true wellness on your healthy living journey. Because if my own healing journey has taught me anything, is that there is no linear path to flourishing. We all have our own unique path. And we are here today at Breeze Fresh Market in Ostrander. They are one of our show sponsors. So a big thank you to Bree and Kyle for welcoming us here to the farm today. And a big thank you to our additional show sponsors, Laura from Escape Salon and Spa and Jen from Hometown Styles in Ingersoll. On today's episode, we are joined by our first guest of season 6, Mel Leverre. Mel is a registered massage therapist, osteopathic manual practitioner, and somatic experiencing practitioner. With a deep commitment to holistic care, she integrates body-based therapies with trauma-informed approaches to support healing and resilience. Mel specializes in working with people who have experienced complex trauma, combining her clinical expertise with compassion to help restore resilience and balance in the body and mind. So welcome to the show, Mel. So nice to have you here.
Thanks for having.
Yeah. So we met about 2 years ago in the somatic experiencing practitioner program, which is wild to think back on just that journey that we got to share together. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about your journey into osteo work and then what eventually led you into somatic experiencing and the work that you do today to support people on their healing journeys.
Yeah. So I think for me, I've worked in manual therapy now for 24 years. And as you work with patients, you start to hear their stories. And my evolution from massage therapy into osteopathy sort of felt like there was something a little bit missing all the time. And I wanted to have a broader knowledge base to help my patients. And then within that, I started traveling a little bit and doing some medical mission work to developing countries. And we started to see trauma imprinting due to food scarcity, education scarcity, or just general trauma from trying to survive. And it really opened my mind to what else could be happening. What else could be imprinting these people?
Right.
And how can I help them? You know, can we help balance their nervous system? So from there, then my sort of career kind of led me down the road into somatic experiencing, but also psychosomatic osteopathy. And this is kind of how I ended up here.
Okay, so really interesting, like how all the dots connected and your experience in traveling kind of started to inform you more about how trauma can impact the body.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how, were you already an osteopath when that was happening or?
Yes. So my first medical mission was to Peru. And that was 2017. So I'd been in, I think I completed my osteo training in 2016 at the time. And so then I applied and it was such a great experience and it felt so amazing to connect with the Peruvian people, with the various tribes there. And I think I just got hooked to wanting to go and I feel such a privilege to be able to go and give my time. And so after 4 missions to Peru, one of my colleagues and I decided that it was time for a change. And so then we applied to the Divinity Foundation in Kenya. And so they're a mixed practitioner medical van, I guess, that travels to rural areas of Kenya and provides care. So for the last now coming up into 3 years, I've been going to Kenya and we treat mostly women and children who have extreme levels of poverty. Most women have undergone female genital mutilation. So the trauma is pervasive there. Domestic violence, child marriage. So it's such a privilege to be able to go and help support as a woman to another woman.
Yeah.
And even without language, we can still communicate. You know, we communicate through our nervous systems, through a little bit of resonance between us, through a smile, through a laugh. And it's really such an honor to be able to go and do that work, really.
I can only imagine just like how that's impacted you, but also just the gifts that you are giving them. I'm sure it's hard to also like know that you can only be there for that short time. But yeah, if you could share, I don't know, a story or just like how that's impacted you of what how you've changed in getting to go there and work with the people that you've worked with.
I think perspective is always a big one. I'm not suggesting that we can't feel kind of crummy for something that's happening in our life here. But for my own self, I honor that space, but I also can recognize like I'm really, really lucky. And I know you said like that I get to help them, but there is a beautiful mutual exchange that happens there between the both of us. And it really is such a gift that I can go and do that. I really do feel like I'm the lucky one. And if I get to help them even a little bit, if I can help support another woman, a child, someone who's struggling, and I can let their body feel a little bit softer, a little bit looser, let them take a bigger breath. What a gift I hope to give them. And so I think for me, the biggest thing is I get to connect with other colleagues from all over the world, other osteos from all over the world, but even clinicians, nurses, midwives, physicians, and also the various tribal people there. As a mixed settler First Nations woman, I get to connect with other tribes in Kenya, in Peru, and there's a symbiosis there. You know, we are connected inherently, even on the basis as people. So for me, it's really broadened my worldview. It's really encouraged me to advocate for people, just people.
Yeah.
And it's shifted everything about me and how I live in the world and what I deem is important.
It's beautiful. And it's, you know, in yoga and some of the work I've done, I've been humbled to, you know, learn that we always have to check those thoughts of like, oh, I'm going to help someone,
Right.
you know, of like, we all are all equal. And like, there's so much that we get back from, you know, these exchanges of just our everyday life, but let alone when you're going there, I can imagine there's a lot of those moments that you get to take with you that are changing your life too.
Totally.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about, I believe you and your colleague like have a little bit of a teamwork that you are also, you know, advocating and raising money and things. How did that come to be? And
so
I don't know much about that. If you could tell me a little bit about the work you do with your colleague.
Thanks for asking. I think what started as, so Jen is my colleague from Vancouver. We met on our first medical expedition to Peru in 2017. And as a funny aside, we've never seen each other in Canada. We only have seen each other somewhere else. And it's kind of a special thing that now this is where we get to go and see and do. So we did our sort of 4 expeditions to Peru and then felt the calls somewhere else and applied to Kenya. And the cost of it was like so much more. And we thought, you know, let's just see if our community will help support, get us there. Even if we raised a little bit, it would help cover some of our costs. And what ended up happening was we ended up needing $10,000 to cover our costs of getting there and for the mission itself. But we ended up fundraising close to $24,000. And we thought, you know what, let's give it to the foundation. They're going to do something with it. They're going to help with the Girls Rescue Center for children who've been abused or are fleeing child marriage or female genital mutilation, or to build a hospital or to do their expeditions. So we just started fundraising. And so what started as initially to help us get there, over the last 3 years, we have now raised over $30,000.
Wow.
Not us. We gave a place for our community to donate money to through various raffles we were doing and whatnot. But yes, at this point, we're over $30,000, and it's going to help complete the building of a maternity and pediatric ward in a really rural community in Kenya that's going to service 1,400 people. So
Wow,
free
amazing.
healthcare for 1,400 families.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And if people want to follow along with that, I know you guys have your own Instagram page, or there might be other ways that people could get in touch to learn more. Do you want to mention that?
Yeah, so they can go to, you can find us on an Instagram at Osteos Travel, where we post all of our stories and information and what's happening with the donation page. You can also follow Divinity Foundation themselves directly to kind of see what initiatives they're doing, how they're helping create better lives for the people who live there. So those are
And then also, how can people get in touch with you as well? Don't forget yourself.
So if people want to get in touch with me, they could do so via my website at www.leverreosteopathy.com, where all my contact information is on there, where they can book an appointment or just ask me questions.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with Mel after this short break to chat more. Welcome back to Flourish and Flow. I'm your host, Amy Rohrer, here today with Mel Leverre, osteopath and teacher of all things. We talked a little bit about your work that you do as an osteopath. Also, you're trained in somatic experiencing, which is where we met.
Right.
And also, you take that work into mission trips. You have one coming up soon. I think the one common thread that you've mentioned is the work that you do on your mission trips you started to see how trauma impacts the body. And trauma work is a bit of a buzzword right now, or trauma. But I can speak firsthand of, trauma really does live in the body. And once you start to unpack that and understand how your body is, kind of holding our life story, it can just be really impactful, really empowering to every person. And you support people in kind of unwinding some of that trauma in the body. So tell me a little bit more about, somatic experiencing, how that's informed the work you do, also maybe in your own life, like whatever you want to share as far as why you think it's important to be trauma-informed as a practitioner, and also in your life, how that's helped you.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's not just important to be trauma-informed, because again, you're right, this is kind of a catchphrase right now, but also be trauma-trained, which is really what somatic experiencing does, right? It doesn't just teach us to be aware of that people have trauma. Of course, trauma is, we all have it. It's real or perceived trauma, right? And not what we experience, but more how our body intakes that. How does our nervous system respond to that event? And so I think any time we're working with a person, especially in hands-on work, especially in manual therapy, if there's not some kind of trauma training there, we could be potentially unlocking Pandora's box, but also we're not totally understanding the big picture. We don't fully understand what is it that we're doing? How are we creating change? And I think the beauty of somatic experiencing is it kind of melds both the concepts of sort of, I wouldn't want to say talk therapy, but there's meaning making, we'll say, and also how that may or may not have impacted a person.
Right.
And how can they get off the hamster wheel of trauma, activation, or excessive energy in the nervous system, or lack of excess in that nervous system.
Yeah.
And so the beauty of SE work is to allow us to realize that we're not just a floating head, that there is a body attached to this head, and that our initial nervous system that is online when we're born is part of that sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, what we call the autonomic nervous system.
Right.
And what happens through life is we start to not pay attention. And some of that comes from cultural norms, social norms, gender norms. You know, as women, we have to be sugar and spice and everything nice. So if we maybe at 5 or 6 we didn't like somebody, our well-meaning caregiver might say, it's not nice to say that. Go give them a hug.
Yeah, we start to shush our instincts.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is then we start to not listening to that. And we really come up into cognition all the time, which isn't a bad thing sometimes. This can be a great spot to be. But we have this entire natural built-in sense of self, of what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And when we start to not listen to that, the body over time will start to become a little more loud. And sometimes that lends to anxiety, depression, autoimmune diseases, chronic health issues. And this is where the somatic experiencing and the trauma work can be so powerful. It's just to connect back in. And it's been, on a personal note, I always was really quite aware of my body sensations. I was really aware of that. But what I was not very good at was connecting to the emotional patterning that was with that.
Yeah.
And so that's been really a beautiful evolution for myself, where I think I'd suppressed so many emotions, especially things like healthy aggression, or again, as women, right? Where it's like, that's a uncomfortable sometimes thing, but healthy aggression can be so beautiful, as can an expression of joy or sadness. So, we were given this beautiful range of emotions to only hold on to the quote unquote positive emotions, kind of disserviced all those other ones that are just, giving us time and space to express something.
Yeah, I love all that. And I can really relate to that too, of there was a lot of, emotion in my body that I would, if it came up, I would kind of push it down, of the thought that, anger is bad, but what happens when we push it down is it's still there. It's not getting to actually deactivate, right? And so our body holds on to that, and that can create, bracing and tension and you name it. So I'm curious as to how you've integrated this into the work you do as an osteopath. How your clients, I know you may not be able to speak specifically, but how is this landing for them and the people that you're working with?
Oh, it's like any therapy. There's nothing that works 100% for some, right? And maybe some aren't ready. But I would say, for the majority of my patients that are coming in, they're really open. They're really open and they're curious. And I think that's a really great way to to come in. I think ultimately we often see patterning in ourselves. We just don't know how to get off the patterning, And so if there's a way to touch in to, well, I always have this pain. Okay, you always have this pain. But also, what else can be there? What else can be present with this? And a big part of SE work, especially in people with really chronic conditions, is to interrupt that patterning. So if we have a chronicity in an area or an experience, my job as an SE, your job, would be to interrupt that pattern. Yes, I acknowledge this is there, but also what else is there?
Yeah.
And what else can we notice? Right. Yeah. What else can be true at the same time? And it really helps shift and create new neural pathways for someone, so that how they live, it expands their awareness a little bit, right? That all of a sudden their nervous system starts feeling a little more safe, and it doesn't have to be on high alert all the time. And that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I think as you're talking about this too, another thing that I think we could touch on that I found really impactful through the program is it's not always what happens to us, it's what happens to us with the lack of an empathetic witness. Sometimes it's just being alone going through something hard.
Right.
But the same thing could happen to two people, but maybe they had someone there with them.
Correct.
For example, a car accident, maybe somebody was there with you to actually tend to you versus somebody being alone. There's a big difference there. Maybe if you want to talk a little bit about that, of how even just you being a regulated person, connecting, attuning to someone that is so powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, even well before I knew I was doing SE work.
Yeah, that's what
I
you
was
were
doing SE work.
Yeah,
You know, I just
exactly.
didn't know that's what I was doing. And a big part of that was just holding space, allowing someone to feel safe, adding in things that we would call resources now, didn't know, warm blanket and heating pad and nice music and essential oils, right, that are diffusing throughout the clinic to automatically create some stability in the nervous system. So well before I knew that's what I was doing that because those were comforts to me and it felt good for me. And so now what I know to be true is that our nervous systems resonate, that we can pick up that vibe with someone. You know, it's kind of like, have you ever had that where you met someone and you're kind of like, ooh, right?
Without even speaking.
Yeah. There's just something. There was something about their nervous system bumping up into yours. And in the same sentence, we can say, have you ever met someone that you would like hardly know, but they felt like a warm hug? And it's the same concept. There's this sense that happens. And so what I get to do, my role as a clinician with my patients, I get to be hopefully that warm hug for them, that place where their nervous system and mind can resonate, and we can create this beautiful balance there. So we can energize if we need to energize them, right? Or we can calm things down if they need to be calmed down. And part of that we might do, we're doing it through manual therapy, we're doing it through SE work. It might be even breath work. It might be talking about like, hey, I'm noticing you're not breathing. I wonder what it might be like to just breathe a little and breathe down here.
Yeah.
So I get to do that. That's really special.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's a continuous learning curve, you know, for the practitioner too, of like just continuing to be there for someone without expectation, right? And we're not there to create a result. Like when we're really just present with someone, that's kind of when the beauty can unfold. So another resource that I know you mentioned you might want to weave in today is a VU breath.
Right.
Do you want to lead us out to the commercial break with a VU?
Sure.
Yeah.
So a VU is a beautiful breathwork regulator to help kind of dampen too much energy in the nervous system or to bring up a low energy in a nervous system. So it can be used for both. And the whole point of a VU is to create a little bit of resonance, vibration in the body, which then stimulates the vagus nerve to balance things out a little bit. And the vagus nerve, as we know, is really important for both parasympathetic and sympathetic activation. But it also helps hyperoxygenate the blood. So it takes our blood oxygen levels from a higher pH to a lower pH and more balanced pH. And so it shifts everything both on a physiological but also in this sort of mechanical stem. So with a VU, what we do is we take a deep breath in through our nose and we make a VU sound through our lips. And then we breathe all the way out until we have to take a breath in. And then we usually repeat that twice.
Okay.
You willing to do this with me?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
Ready?
And for our viewers, VU, VU.
Well, I think it's VOO is what they say.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's the sound we make with our lips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in through our nose.
Welcome back to Flourish and Flow. I'm your host, Amy Rohrer, here today with Mel Leverre. And we've had a great time chatting about all the wonderful work you do and kind of marrying osteopath and trauma work, somatic experiencing together. But to end the interview, we're going to do something fun. This is called lightning round. So just some fun pop questions. First word that comes to mind. Mel doesn't know what I'm going to ask her. So yeah, just whatever comes to your mind. If you were a superhero, what would your power be?
You know, weirdly enough, people ask me this. They're usually under the age of 8.
Well, I'm the height of an 8-year-old.
I think I'd like to fly.
Fly.
I think then I could just get to places really quick. I think that would be super.
Bird's eye view.
Yeah.
Favorite meal to eat this time of year as we head into fall?
Ooh, anything cozy, like stews and pasta bakes and
Yep. Love it. Nickname your friends or family used to call you or still do. Do you have a nickname?
I do. Do I want to share that?
Yes.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Pumbaa.
Pumbaa.
Yeah.
Aw.
I think when I was like 12 or 13, Lion King came out, and then my parents thought it would be really funny to like permanently nickname
And
Pumbaa.
it stuck.
So it's Pumbaa, Pumbee, Pumbanator.
Oh, okay. All the.
It's stuck.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite place you've ever been camping? So I know you're a camper.
Ooh. McGregor Point.
Okay. That's
Lake
on
Huron.
my list. Yeah.
So good.
All right.
Beautiful.
I love it. Favorite self-care activity thing that you like to do for yourself?
You know what? Right now, my big thing, pickleball. Who knew?
All right.
It's amazing. We have so much fun.
Uh-huh.
Get a good workout. And it keeps you grounded because, you have your best game and your worst game in the same hour usually, but it's fun and I like a challenge.
I love that you mentioned that. We actually have some nice pickleball courts here in Tillsonburg if you ever want to travel back here.
Okay.
All right. And before we wrap up, mention one more time, how can people get in touch, learn more, connect with you?
Yeah.
Ask you a question.
People can connect with me via my website at www.leverreosteopathy.net. If they want to shoot an email or call me, all my information's on there, or just book an appointment.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us here on today's show. Our first guest of season 6 was really fun to have you be the first guest. Thank you again to our show sponsors, Bree and Kyle from Bree's Fresh Market, Jen from Hometown Style in Ingersoll, and Laura from Escape Salon and Spa. Until next time, may you continue to flourish and find your flow.